With all the gear packed away good, it was time to ankle over to the cage and check in. But before I could split, I caught wind of a storm brewing the next room over. Just as I'd thought, it was a grisly scene. According to my colleague, the thing was old and bound to croak sooner or later, but I wasn't buying it. Something sinister was afoot, and it was going to take real serious sleuthing to get to the bottom of it. I sat down who was last with the axed Bolex. Seemed a good enough number, but ripe to be a sucker. The witness was reluctant to talk at first. It was clear they were still pretty bent up about what happened. But after a few cups of Joe and a little heart-to-heart, the witness finally opened up, and the story began to flow. According to them, it started as a routine film shoot. They stepped away for a second. And when they returned, the mark had already been bumped off. The story was simple enough to buy, but something about it called out to the skeptic in me. Wasn't very hard. Had to be sure I wasn't being strung along. I was digging a hole that didn't want itself dug. The more I asked, the less I knew. The only tip I got was a scrap with an old roommate that signed on for the shoot. Only problem was no one wanted to spill who. Just as I thought my chances would be snuffed out like a flame at the end of its wick, Lady Luck dealt me an ace. The pens had been pinched, and the saps who had the goods under their names insisted it was a put-up job. All they were doing was a quick bit of business. But they always say trouble comes in threes. The JVC, the third hit. This was no accident. There was still work to be done. I had all the pieces, but how would they fit together? As it turned out, this was far from a clean sneak. Leads started falling into my lap like dames on a Friday night. The clues were all there, but what did they mean? Who was the dastardly so-and-so icing all these poor schmoes? And why? This was the work of a professional who knew their way around a set and around a camera. The patsies with their purloined pens were working for someone who knew how to keep a group organized. And the roommate, who was the roommate? I was so close, I could feel it in my gut. That's when it finally clicked. I found myself the prime suspect, someone with both motive and means. All that was left was to I don't go down that easy.